were of silver, it was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king had a sea, for the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish.
Watch your back.
A navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. So I'm gonna look up Hiram real quick. Let's talk about Hiram Biff, right?
Yeah, I think you're there.
Hiram.
Yeah, it don't say what nation.
It might have been in another book that connected that time period.
You talking about when they sent the ships out?
Yeah.
I think it's in King's.
There's another king,
like
Chronicles too.
maybe what chapter is it?
First Kings 10.
This type of someone type of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think peacocks as well, right?
Yeah, Peacock.
Talks about the land of hope here.
Yeah.
Yeah, First Kings 10
He's there. I thought he was there.
and Second Chronicles 9.
For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold, silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks.
The Navy's a fleet of ships. It ain't just
Right.
one ship.
Military, yeah.
Ain't no Nina.
Pinto,
None of that shit. They had a fleet of ships. You know, 'cause they had to brought back a lot of supplies.
Yeah.
So I mean that they when they make these expeditions, they had the top navigators, people that knew the terrain, they knew they knew how to follow the currents, they knew how to look at the suns and the heavens. They had to do all that, man.
Constellations guided them.
Yeah.
Know the currents in the.
Didn't it say that in the 13th chapter, second?
Yeah. He about to read it.
Yeah, that's
Say every 3 years, so it took a year and a half.
Yeah. Round trip was 3 years.
To get to Jerusalem to over here.
Yeah. Trip, bro.
A year and a half. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. That's pretty much it. Well,
So it was history already of before the Northern Kingdom came over here. It was history of people coming to this land, what you call America. So this America wasn't discovered by Spanish or French or English settlers or Amerigo Vespucci or none of them. Christopher Columbus,
Columbus, as they call it.
you know, it was. But that's what they teach in the schools. You know, that's part of them teaching that is part of them discontinuing you from your heritage. You know, a nigga, you say Christopher Columbus, a nigga already gonna think, oh yeah, he discovered America.
Yeah, that's
You
when
know,
you hear the name.
that's what you hear. That's what automatically pops in your head. But that's false.
Something I want to make a quick point about a land where never mankind grows, because this land over here wasn't given as an inheritance to a nation of people. Everybody else in the Eastern world or the Old world had their land divided, and it was all divided over there. It wasn't divided off over here. So we were able to go, but we still, under the King Solomon, King David, we still exhibited the same principles of how we're supposed to keep the land over here. That's when they got here, it was so luscious. They weren't taking everything, but there was so much of an abundance of it, they can bring it back.
And still still have some here.
Yeah.
You know, they wasn't taking back all the apes and all the peacocks and all the gold.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they kept a lot of it over here. That's why the gold rushes and silver rushes that they don't talk about were so big.
Another thing they took back was wood from the South America. The trees, there's certain trees that grow down there that are, you know, have this great wood. That's why they got the name Brazil from the Brazil wood.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Brazilian. Like nigga, that's how gone Jake is. You know.
They don't even know Brazil is actually a Hebrew word. Barzal.
Means
Iron,
iron.
huh?
Yeah.
Right.
We're going back to that in 2nd Ezra 13.
Like in 2nd and 13, I'll read verse 41 again. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
They got to, follow the constellations.
He probably had certain moons. You know how when the moon changes, it changes the currents.
Yeah,
in the ocean.
and also the illumination of the moon as well.
That too.
You know?
This car was,
Navigators.
navigators. Read the stars.
Hey, cause even back in the time of Judah's slavery, child slavery over here in America, hey, they would sing that song "Follow the Drinking Gourd," which was like the North Star, to basically show forth the direction.
Yeah.
And to run to so-called slave.
Yeah, right, yeah. And this is just showing you Jakes, that we got history.
Yeah.
Our history is not Latino history, Mexican history, black history. Our history is way deeper than that. Go ahead, bro. You got it.
Verse 45, for to that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth.
We know the land of Arsareth is America. Esau even knows that.
Columbus, he knew that this land was the land of Arsareth.
It's in the Jewish encyclopedia. That they identified this land as Azareth according to 2nd Ezra.
Yeah. They knew that this land over here was rich with all these natural resources. That's why they had sent, before Christopher Columbus and all these explorers, they sent numerous fleets over here because they knew that this land was rich. They said, shit, they got gold over here. They have, gold, silver, all types of, not just the metals, stones. And because the first few fleets they sent over here, they got their ass handed to them. They got, and then of course it had to happen. Jake had to be conquered, so it was only a matter of time. But they knew that this land was rich with all those resources. That's why they continue to send fun explorers to come over here. Yeah, it was like in this day and age, if you wanted to, here man, invest in this, and you're going to get back tenfold. It was almost like people invested in it. The main motherfuckers invested in it was them Amalekites, man.
We're gonna get those elite families. Those elite families with the small hats. This elite family right now, Rothschilds, Oppenheimers, that money goes back that far, man.
Yeah.
And they passed it down from generation to generation. And that's how they got to be trillionaires.
Is that 500-600 years ago now?
Yeah.
200 years ago, they were already billionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah. And they were just over here just getting free increase off the land, the dew of heaven, man. Getting it all.
That's why Columbus and all those explorers, they had Hebrew interpreters.
Yeah.
Because they knew that the people that were over here, they had multiple. They didn't just have one Hebrew interpreter because he could have died on the way over here. They had multiple people that spoke, and they probably was Jake. Tell you the truth, it was.
Interpreters.
Yeah, interpreters, and what the history that will tell you is a lot of Native Americans were shipped back to England to serve as slaves. Spain, Portugal, France. They were sent back because it was like when that was it New England area now. There was a lot of Gadite communities there, and they had dealings with Edomites before they ultimately came in and conquered them and slaughtered them. So they would go back there as
Telling their culture, hey,
Yeah,
we like to do this.
they would learn, a lot of Gadites would learn English,
Yeah.
and they would come back over here and be interpreters for the tribes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of history that Jake don't really, they're not privy to, man. And you're only going to get that history from the prophets.
And you've seen the American government do things like Trail of Tears and all these different
Indian Removal Act.
all of these situations. There was a lot of other Jakes that were helping the wrong side. Just like in the time of the Maccabees, there's some that, how do they say, some of the Israelites, how do they say,
Consented to their religion.
Yeah.
Consented unto their religion, unto their ideals of how to live. And they was helping them to thwart the affliction of our people.
That's the map of Gad all throughout that's just North America.
Yep.
So they were ruling all of that. You know, I'm not saying they were righteous, but they were ruling. They kept some of the customs, the land Sabbath. You know, they had a system of welfare for the poor, and everyone worked. You know, but this devil came over here and destroyed that.
Canada too.
Yeah, it was all over.
Real
Yeah,
quick.
this is actually going up in the Canada.
Yeah, all of that.
Real quick, Micah 2:2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage.
Indian Removal Act 1830. So Gad was still amongst these, you know, they were still plenteous, even though they killed a lot of them off. But they
Yeah.
and
And here it is, y'all getting ready to have a feast.
Yeah.
yeah.
Y'all about to have a 4-day weekend, and that's what you're gonna be commemorating. Eating all that turkey, dry ass turkey, and abominable ham,
Stuffing.
and stuffing. You don't even know the real origins of that shit, man.
Cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Isn't that for Gad the day of mourning for them?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. Yeah. We should, like right now, we're in the midst of Hanukkah.
Yep.
Well, we celebrate the rededication of our temple.
Yep.
We defeated our enemies in war, and it was temporary, but we was able to fight off our foes,
Yep.
so we can return back to worshiping the Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
They're celebrating how they took Gad down
Yeah.
and Reuben.
Yeah.
And they got majority of our people celebrating it too.
Yep.
Showing how discontinued from our heritage we actually are.
Yeah, completely.
That's what
You
makes
celebrating your enemy's victory with them.
Yep.
And you spending your money with him.
Yep.
You can't even afford this shit right now.
Yeah.
But you still gonna do it anyway. Cause that's how far gone you Israelites are, man.
Putrefying swords, bro.
Gone.
It can't be healed.
Gone.
Jake ain't trying to get bound up and put ointment on there to heal himself. Jake has allowed this man to continue to lick his wounds to keep him fresh.
Yeah.
Keep him
The scab.
no,
Without the
what's
scab.
the other? What's the what did it say? Infected.
Yeah.
Keeping them infected, man.
They don't even want to admit that they wanted it in the first.
Right.
Yeah.
They act like they ain't got one.
I ain't hurt.
Jake acts like the history that we bring out, oh, that's ancient. That's ancient history. That's in the past. What about today? Like that nigga, what's that nigga's name? Whack 100. This like I ain't trying to hear about that. Like nigga, this is your history. This is who you are. They can understand why they in a fucked up position, but they can't look back and understand their history and how we got here. Jake is looking to the future. And the future is dim for them niggas that thinking that they gonna still try to make it. The future is destruction for this place. The future is destruction for this empire, for Esau, and for 2/3 of our own people.
Speaking as a man, it's best I never ever meet WAP 100 face to face in a conversation about this.
No,
I'm
it's
gonna
gonna
push
be a,
this
it's gonna be a,
button,
it'll
bro.
be a fight.
It's gonna have to.
It'll be a straight
I
fight.
would go there. I would
It's
go there.
a waste of time.
Which ends up being a waste
You
of time.
understand, it's niggas that think like that.
Yeah.
The average Jake that
That's
walk
what
past
we
here on vacation, and we bring out this truth or the history, like, yo, you Native American, this is your history, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't trying to hear that, you know.
Trying to get this bag.